All right, so are you ready to dive into something truly epic today?
Hit me with it.
Okay. We're looking at what would happen if Home Alone uh, got a grimdark makeover,
Okay.
Warhammer 40K style.
Right.
Can you even imagine little Kevin McAllister?
Yeah.
Not in like some cushy Chicago suburb,
Mhm.
but facing down the horrors of the 41st millennium.
I mean, what's really interesting about this idea is that we have to reconsider what we think we know about Home Alone.
Yeah?
We're not just swapping out paint cans for plasma guns.
Right.
This is a complete reimagining
Oh,
of everything, the
Yeah.
setting, the characters, and even the stakes.
Exactly. So first things first,
Sure.
where in the vast, unforgiving Imperium of Man does
Oh.
this story even take place?
Mhm.
I'm thinking we need a location that embodies grimdark.
A hive world would be perfect.
Oh, okay.
Imagine a planet-sized city.
Wow.
Billions of souls crammed into these huge structures
Yeah.
where even breathing is a struggle. Crime is rampant, gangs rule the underbelly, and mutant uprisings are like a weekly occurrence.
Okay, so even before the wet bandits show up,
Yeah,
Kevin's dealing with some serious danger.
totally.
And speaking of the McAllisters,
Right.
what kind of family are they
Oh.
in this 40K setting?
Well, given the hive world's emphasis on duty and conformity, I think they could be a mid-level administratum clan.
Oh, okay.
So think of them as cogs in the machine,
Yeah.
the Imperium's vast bureaucratic machine.
Right.
Imagine their apartment, cramped, functional, with flickering lumens and recycled nutrient paste for dinner.
Oh, yuck.
Family gatherings probably involve chanting hymns to the God Emperor and prepping ration packs for the next war front.
Now, for the sake of the story, let's say they still hold on to
That's-
some semblance of Christmas tradition,
Yeah.
however warped it might be by imperial culture.
Right, the Imperium has absorbed tons of cultures over millennia,
Oh, yeah.
so some vestige of Christmas could remain but twisted and militarized.
Okay.
Instead of carols, they sing battle hymns.
I like it.
Gifts might be devotional texts or crudely made toys depicting Imperial heroes,
Yeah.
or maybe even lucky charms to ward off demons.
Okay. So no sugar plums dancing in their heads.
Right.
They're dreaming of bolter shells and chainsaws.
Exactly.
Now let's talk about the wet bandits.
Okay.
The heart of any good Home Alone story.
Yeah.
Who are they in this grimdark world?
They can't just be petty thieves.
No.
We need foes who represent the true horrors of the 40K universe.
Okay.
I'm thinking a care of chaos cultists,
Okay.
driven by warped desires and fueled by whispers from the Imperium.
Wait, Imperium?
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
It's a parallel dimension of pure psychic energy,
Mm-hmm.
home to demons and all sorts of nightmarish creatures.
Okay, so these wet bandits.
Yeah.
They're not your average burglars.
No,
They're agents of chaos.
Right.
Bringing a whole new level of terror to the table.
Totally.
So no more clumsy pratfalls and goofy disguises.
Nope.
These guys are the real deal. What kind of weaponry are we talking about?
Imagine rusted auto pistols,
Okay.
crudely modified las guns,
Right.
maybe even scavenged chain weapons dripping with unholy ichor.
Ooh.
Their tactics would be brutal and unpredictable,
Yeah.
driven by fanatical zeal.
Which raises an important question.
Okay.
How does Kevin stand a chance against these guys? This is a kid going up against the forces of chaos.
That's where things get interesting.
Yeah.
Remember, we're on a hive world.
Right.
There's tech, weaponry, and industrial hazards around every corner.
Oh, for sure.
He could repurpose discarded servo skulls into surveillance drones,
I like it.
rig faulty plasma conduits to create makeshift traps,
Okay.
even turn devotional statues into projectiles.
We're taking that classic Home Alone ingenuity
Yeah.
and giving it a grim, dark twist.
Totally.
But to make this truly 40K, Kevin needs something more.
Okay.
Something to even the odds
Absolutely.
against these chaos-infused baddies.
Let's give him a latent psychic ability. Nothing overt, but maybe a heightened sense of danger.
Yeah.
A subconscious knack for manipulating machinery.
So like a mini-psyker,
Yeah,
but without the full-blown warp powers.
exactly.
I like it.
Imagine him unconsciously tapping into the psychic residue of the hive city.
Okay.
The whispers of countless souls, giving him an almost supernatural awareness of his surroundings.
But let's get specific.
All right.
What are some of the most outrageous traps he could cook up using his hive world surroundings and his budding psychic abilities?
Okay, picture this. A melt-a-charge disguised as a Christmas ornament.
Okay.
rigged to explode when the wet bandits try to steal it.
Oh, that's good.
Or a network of razor wire strung across the apartment quarters,
Okay.
powered by stolen promethium canisters,
Yeah.
which he mentally triggers with a flick of his mind.
And since we're in a hive world,
Right.
wouldn't there be automated defenses?
Totally.
Like those sentry turrets they always show guarding important facilities?
Absolutely. Kevin could hack into the building's security system.
Maybe even with some rudimentary psychic nudge,
Yeah.
turning those turrets against the wet bandits.
You mentioned that these chaos cultists are searching for a relic or artifact.
Right.
What if their target is actually something that Kevin's family has?
That's an interesting twist. Perhaps Kevin's family unknowingly possesses a relic of some kind.
Oh, I like it.
Maybe a seemingly mundane object passed down through generations, imbued with latent psychic energy that draws the attention of chaos?
So Kevin's not just protecting his home.
Right.
He's guarding something far more significant.
exactly.
A key to some ancient power that could tip the balance in the eternal battle against chaos.
It raises the stakes.
For sure, the stakes just got a whole lot higher.
And the beauty of it is that Kevin, being a child, might not even fully grasp the significance of what he's protecting.
This is where I think we need to introduce another classic Home Alone element.
Yeah.
Remember Old Man Marley from the original?
Yeah.
He was this scary, misunderstood figure
Right.
who ended up helping Kevin. Right. In our 40K version, Marley could be a grizzled veteran of countless wars,
Yeah.
perhaps even a rogue psyker in hiding.
So instead of shoveling snow, he's wielding a chainsword
Yes.
and muttering prophecies about the end times.
Precisely.
He's a source of dark wisdom.
Right.
Someone who can guide Kevin,
Yeah.
teaching him how to harness his abilities
Yeah.
and navigate the treacherous landscape of the 41st millennium.
Definitely.
Okay, this is shaping up to be one epic, grimdark, Home Alone story.
Totally.
But before we get to the wet bandits attack,
Okay.
I want to dig a little deeper into Kevin's family dynamic.
All right.
We know they're an administratum clan,
Yeah.
but what if there's more to their story?
That's a great point. The Imperium is rife with political intrigue and
Right.
hidden agendas.
Perhaps Kevin's family is embroiled in a conspiracy, caught between rival factions within the Hive City's bureaucracy.
So they're not just absent-minded parents,
Right.
they're players in a power struggle. Their attention is focused on matters far beyond Kevin's understanding.
That adds a whole other layer of complexity to the story.
It does.
Kevin's not just dealing with the immediate threat of the wet bandits.
Right.
He's caught in a web of intrigue that could have ramifications for the entire Hive City.
And the irony is that Kevin,
Yeah.
a child oblivious to these adult concerns,
Right.
might hold the key to resolving the conflict.
Right.
Whether through his innocence, his resourcefulness, or even his psychic abilities.
This is getting really good. We've got a setting teeming with danger and intrigue,
Yeah.
characters with hidden depths,
Totally.
and a plot that blends the familiar with the unexpected.
For sure.
Now, let's talk about the wet bandits' attack.
Okay.
How do they approach the Hive Spire? They can't just knock on the door.
Right. Given their status as chaos cultists, they might try to infiltrate through the Undercity,
Okay.
using forgotten tunnels and maintenance shafts to reach Kevin's level.
So picture them creeping through dimly lit corridors, dodging mutant scavengers.
Yeah.
They're every step a desecration of the Imperium's already fragile order.
And as they get closer to Kevin's apartment,
Yeah.
their senses are bombarded by the psychic residue he's unknowingly emitting.
Oh, wow.
They see visions of warp creatures, hear whispers of forbidden knowledge, feel the touch of unseen forces.
So they think they're being guided by destiny,
Exactly.
when in reality, they're just falling for a 10-year-old's psychic shenanigans.
Pretty much.
That's brilliant.
It speaks to the insidious nature of chaos.
Yeah.
It preys on your hopes, your fears, twisting your perception of reality to serve its own ends.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat here. I
Oh.
have to know what happens next.
Okay.
They've made it to the apartment building.
Right.
They're under the influence of Kevin's psychic aura.
Yeah.
What happens when they actually try to break in?
Oh, man.
I can't wait to find out.
This is where things get really interesting. Their entrance is pure chaos. A symphony of mayhem orchestrated by a 10-year-old with a knack for turning everyday objects into instruments of pain.
Okay, but hold on. We've got to paint a picture for our listener.
Right.
What does this symphony of mayhem actually look like?
Oh.
Give us the gory, grimdark details.
Imagine this. The wet bandits, emboldened by their chaos-fueled visions, kick in the apartment door expecting easy pickings. But instead of a welcoming living room, they're met with a blinding flash of light. as a melt-a-charge cleverly disguised as a festive ornament on a makeshift Christmas tree detonates.
Ouch, that's gotta hurt even for chaos-hardened thugs.
It wouldn't kill them outright, not with their warp-tainted resilience, but it would definitely disorient them, leaving them reeling and vulnerable to the next stage of Kevin's defenses.
Which is, don't leave us hanging.
Remember those razor wire traps we talked about?
Yeah.
Picture them strung across the apartment corridors, powered by stolen Promethium canisters. As the wet bandits stumble through the smoke and debris, they trip the wire, setting off a chain reaction of searing pain and blinding sparks.
So they're getting sliced and diced entity. Set on fire.
Ouch.
Not exactly the kind of Christmas cheer they were hoping for.
Nope.
But Kevin's not done yet, is he?
Oh, not even close.
Yeah.
Remember those automated sentry turrets?
Yeah.
Kevin, using his budding psychic abilities, has hacked into the building's security system, turning those turrets against the intruders.
So now they're shooting at them.
The wet bandits, now convinced they're battling demons, find themselves under a hail of lass fire, desperately trying to find cover amidst the flashing lights and ear-splitting blasts.
This is all sorts of messed up, but I have to admit there's a certain poetry to it.
Right.
These agents of chaos, so eager to unleash destruction, now finding themselves on the receiving end of it all.
It's a classic case of hubris, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
They underestimate their opponent, blinded by their own ambition and their warped perception of reality.
And Kevin, our pint-sized protagonist, is proving that in the grim darkness of the 41st millennium, even a child can be a force to be reckoned with.
Right.
But let's not forget Old Man Marley.
Right.
Where does he fit into all of this carnage?
Marley, ever the watchful guardian, has been observing the unfolding chaos from the shadows.
Okay.
He sees Kevin's ingenuity, his resourcefulness, but he also senses the boy's growing psychic power, the potential for both good and evil that resides within him.
So he's not just a mentor. He's a gatekeeper.
Yeah.
A protector of sorts, ensuring that Kevin's power doesn't fall into the wrong hands.
Exactly.
And remember, we hinted at the possibility that Marley might have his own agenda.
Right.
His own reasons for taking an interest in Kevin. This is where those motives start to come into play.
For sure.
So spill the beans.
Okay.
What's Marley's endgame here?
Let's say Marley, in his long years battling the forces of chaos, has been searching for a way to strike a decisive blow against the Imperium.
Okay.
To seal off the rift between our world and that nightmarish realm.
Okay, that's ambitious even for a grizzled veteran like Marley.
It is.
But how does Kevin fit into this grand plan?
Marley believes that Kevin, with his unique blend of ingenuity and psychic potential, could be the key to achieving this goal. Perhaps the relic that the wet bandits are, after the one that Kevin's family unknowingly possesses, is an essential component in some ancient ritual.
Oh, yeah?
A weapon capable of banishing demons back to the warp.
So Marley's not just protecting Kevin, he's grooming him.
Yeah.
Preparing him for a role far greater than the boy could ever imagine.
Exactly.
And this creates a fascinating moral dilemma for Marley.
It does.
Does he use Kevin manipulating the boy's innocence and fear to achieve his goals? Or does he try to guide Kevin, nurturing his potential while respecting his free will?
That's a tough one.
I mean, the fate of the Imperium might hang in the balance.
All right.
Can you really fault Marley for resorting to desperate measures?
It's a question that lies at the heart of the 40K universe.
Yeah.
A universe where the lines between good and evil are often blurred.
For sure.
But let's get back to the action.
Oh.
The wet bandits are battered, but they're not beaten yet.
Right.
They're chaos cultists driven by fanatical zeal.
Yeah.
What happens when they realize they're outmatched by a 10-year-old?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to give up easily, even with all of the pain Kevin's inflicted on them.
Exactly. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Yeah. Remember those whispers they've been hearing, those visions guiding their actions?
Yeah.
What if, in their desperation, they decide to fully embrace the power of chaos?
Oh, that's not good.
Nope.
We're talking full-blown demonic possession.
Right. Precisely imagine the wet bandits, their bodies contorting, their eyes glowing with unholy light as they transform into monstrous avatars of chaos.
So no more clumsy burglars. We're talking about full-on warp-spawn horrors. How does Kevin deal with that?
Right.
I mean, no amount of razor wire in sentry turrets is going to stop a demon.
You're right. This is where Kevin's latent psychic abilities and Marley's guidance become crucial. Remember we said that the relic the wet bandits are after might be the key to banishing demons?
Yeah.
So Kevin has to find a way to use the relic against them, but he's just a kid.
Right.
How does he even know how to use something like that?
Exactly.
That's where Marley comes in.
Okay.
He's been studying the relic, deciphering its secrets. Perhaps he's even foreseen this moment, knowing that Kevin would need to confront the full might of chaos.
So we're talking about a psychic showdown, a battle for the soul of the Hive City, all orchestrated by a grizzled veteran and a 10-year-old with a knack for turning Christmas decorations into deadly weapons.
Exactly. It's a moment of truth.
Yeah?
A test of Kevin's courage, his ingenuity, and his ability to harness the power within him.
Okay, I'm hooked. But before we get to the epic climax, there's one more piece of the puzzle we haven't addressed.
Okay.
Kevin's family.
Right.
They're still out there caught up in their own web of intrigue.
Yeah.
When do they return? And what do they make of the chaos that's unfolded in their absence?
Their return has to be perfectly timed, coinciding with the peak of the conflict.
So just as things are about to go down.
Imagine them arriving back at their apartment, weary from their own ordeal, only to find their home a war zone, a battlefield where demons clash with a lone child wielding the power of the warp.
Talk about a rude awakening. So what do they do?
All right.
Do they run screaming?
I mean,
Do they try to intervene?
their reaction would be a mix of shock disbelief and a desperate need to protect their son. But remember, they're also caught up in their own power struggle.
Right.
Their minds preoccupied with their own agendas.
So their arrival adds another layer of complexity to the already chaotic situation.
Yeah.
They're not just innocent bystanders, they're active participants,
Yeah.
whether they realize it or not.
Exactly, and their presence, their actions, their very existence could tip the balance in this psychic showdown, for better or for worse.
Okay, this is getting intense.
Uh-huh.
We've got a psychic showdown, brewing demons on the loose, a family caught in the crossfire, and a relic that holds the key to banishing chaos back to the warp. How does this all come to a head? Give us the grand finale, the grimdark climax to our 40K Home Alone story.
Okay, so picture this. The apartment is a whirlwind of psychic energy. Furniture is floating in midair. Lumens are flickering erratically, and the air crackles with the stench of ozone and something ancient and foul. Kevin, guided by Marley's whispered instructions, is manipulating the relic, focusing his burgeoning psychic might against the demonic entities that were once the Wet Bandits.
So we've got a 10-year-old in his pajamas wielding an artifact of unimaginable power going toe-to-toe with literal demons. That's an image I'm not going to forget anytime soon.
And let's not forget the McAllisters. They burst onto the scene. Their anxieties about hive world politics instantly vaporized by the sight of their son levitating amidst a maelstrom of warp energy. It's a moment where their priorities shift irrevocably. Family in all its messy and complicated forms takes center stage.
But they're not just passive observers, are they? We
Oh.
talked about how their presence might actually influence the course of events.
Precisely their arrival, their very love for Kevin, becomes a beacon in the warp-infused darkness. Imagine their presence disrupts the flow of chaotic energy, weakening the demon's hold on reality, their concern, their fear, their love. It all becomes a weapon against the forces of chaos.
That's a powerful image. It's like the classic power of love trope, but with a grimdark twist in a universe where hope is often in short supply. Family becomes this unexpected source of strength.
It speaks to a fundamental truth about the human condition. Even in the 41st millennium, even in the face of unimaginable horrors, the bonds of family can endure, offering a glimmer of light amidst the darkness.
Okay, so we've got Kevin battling demons, his family inadvertently weakening the forces of chaos just by being there. And old man Marley, what's he doing during all of this? He's not just going to sit on the sidelines, is he?
Marley, ever the strategist, uses this moment of distraction to his advantage. He seizes the relic from Kevin, channeling his own formidable psychic power to amplify its effects.
So he's risking everything, putting himself in the line of fire to give Kevin a chance to escape.
More than that, he's using this opportunity to enact his long-held plan. Remember, Marley's been searching for a way to seal the rift between our reality and the Imperium. He believes this relic, combined with the chaotic energies unleashed by the Wet Bandits transformation, could be the key.
So he's not just protecting Kevin, he's using this whole situation to achieve his own goals. That's pretty bold, even for a rogue psyker.
It raises an interesting question about the nature of heroism. Is Marley a selfless savior, risking his life to protect a child and banish the forces of chaos? Or is he a cunning manipulator exploiting the situation for his own ends?
It's a classic 40K dilemma, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nothing is ever black and white, but before we get too philosophical, let's wrap up this epic battle. What happens next?
Imagine a blinding flash of light, a wave of psychic energy that engulfs the entire apartment. The demons, weakened by the McAllisters' presence and overwhelmed by the power of the relic, are pulled back into the Imperium, their forms dissolving into wisps of smoke and shadow.
So the Wet Bandits are gone. banished back to the hellish realm from whence they came. But what about Marley? Did he survive the blast?
That's the ambiguous ending, the final twist that leaves the listener pondering. We see the aftermath of the battle. The apartment a wreck, the McAllister shaken but unharmed, Kevin clinging to his parents, traumatized but ultimately safe. But Marley is nowhere to be found.
So we don't know if he sacrificed himself to banish the demons, or if he escaped his mission accomplished, fading back into the shadows of the Hive City.
Exactly. It's a fitting end to our grimdark Home Alone tale, a story of innocence lost of unlikely heroes, and the enduring power of family in a universe where hope is often a fleeting thing.
And it leaves us with some thought-provoking questions, doesn't it? What becomes of Kevin after this ordeal? Does he embrace his psychic abilities, following in Marley's footsteps as a protector against the forces of chaos? Or does he repress his powers, trying to lead a normal life in a world that can never be normal again?
And what about the McAllisters? Do they finally wake up to the true nature of the Imperium, the constant threat of chaos lurking just beneath the surface? Or do they retreat back into their comfortable delusions, clinging to the illusion of order in a universe teetering on the brink of collapse?
These are questions that linger long after the credits roll, a testament to the power of this grimdark reimagining of a beloved holiday classic.
What's fascinating is that this exploration has taken us far beyond the simple premise of Home Alone. In the 40K universe, we've touched upon themes of family sacrifice, the nature of heroism, and the ever-present struggle against the forces of darkness. It's a reminder that even in the grimmest of settings, the human spirit can endure, finding moments of humor, hope, and even love amidst the chaos.
And that's what makes this such a compelling idea. It's not just a silly mashup. It's a story that speaks to our deepest fears and our most enduring hopes, reminding us that even in the darkest corners of the galaxy, there's always a light worth fighting for. Well, that about wraps it up for this deep dive. I hope you enjoyed this exploration as much as we did. Until next time, keep those imaginations firing, and remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there's always a story waiting to be told.
Like and subscribe for the God Emperor or suffer his wrath.